These are my work buddies. Today at least. Annie and Astrid have met another, they're called handlers, a person with a service dog who's training their own service dog at the mall, and they are training together, and it is quite chilly for this very reptilian southern blood outside, and so Rezi and I are on the heated blanket, and Bobbin with her own fur coat is over there on a coolie blanket. Anyway, it's a lovely, lovely way to spend the afternoon.
Mind you, I was already making videos for my church, but eventually...
Okay, yes indeedy, I am looking a little worse for wear. Certainly my nightstand. Sorry for the snorting. There we go. This is taking up way too much time for something so insignificant. I was going to talk about my tissues. How is that important or even desirable for any of the world to see? I don't know, but screen cleaner, matcha from the morning. Well, it's matcha peanut butter powder, organized, which is organ meat ground, finely ground, that's supposed to help with chronic fatigue, oat milk. What else is in there? Oh, JoJo's chocolate. That's the secret to a happy life. None of that. Not a bit of this was why I got on here. It is 10 till 4, 3:47 to be exact, p.m. in the afternoon. And I have not filmed a lot today. I had great plans to do what I'm doing now and film, because right now I've got the heated blanket on my legs and feet. The pups, 2 of the pups are here with me. Been in this position a lot today, working, not feeling overwhelmed by fatigue. Praise the Lord. Having a little something going on internally, but it's fine. It's normal. No, it's not normal. Shouldn't be normal, but for me, there are just days off and on that the body just acts weird. And so it's just one of those days, but it's not fatigue. I know, it's just categories of So, I'm going to show you what I'm working on. See if I can, without making everybody seasick. I am working on figuring out living in the hi Bobbin, hi baby. She hears me talking and thinks it's for her, which it should be. Sweet baby girl. But I am working on learning a new thing, not just doing a new thing, but learning how. I've known for years how to do Canva. My early career dealt with what we used to call desktop publishing, which is basically, design, not in the art kind of way. I wish I was that talented, but in designing layout and format for publications. It's what I did when I worked in corporate America, which for me was working for Walmart Stores Inc. under the division of Sam's Club I think it's in my early days. Well, hello, Astrid. Hello, darling. I didn't know you were home. Anyway, I can finish this later. I just wanted to say that I am still trying to be... Oh gosh, there's friction. It's okay. Okay, don't step on her. Lord, oh mercy. Astrid, come here. Come here. Well, it's a couple hours later since I was talking to you, and then got bombarded by the puppies and my daughter coming home from her outing with her service dog, who was Astrid, which was the big fluffy face that came in. So it just seemed silly to try to even keep going. I just hit pause. I think what I was trying to communicate was what a great day it's been. I have worked from my office. Because I have lower back stuff and I've got a this, that, and the other, because my bed will incline decline, yeah, incline, raise up. This, it does this on the regular with a little remote that helps me be able to work longer. So it's basically like if I could have an office chair that was a chaise lounge, like that is my, honestly, the best way for my body and lower extremities not to get too tired to whatever, because I can have tailbone pain and, you know, I mean, I just sound like I'm 1,000 years old, but it kind of comes with all the other. Anyway, I wanted to say that it's been a good day. It's been a productive day. That feels so good to say out loud again, because honestly, for a very long time, productivity felt like if I could get my laundry done, which is still a good day, but to be working towards something, creating something, content, I don't want to say an old dog, because that's not how I want to talk about my body. I don't think that's fair. It may be, it may be accurate, but I don't think it's fair to talk about it that way. I want to be gentle and kind with my words, even to myself. And so sometimes learning new things can be a challenge, particularly with the level of brain fog. Or I was thinking, you know, I can be searching for a word and the category is right, but it doesn't necessarily come out correct. As you've seen, I'm sure if you watched any of the videos thus far, happens a lot. Like I'm looking for the word stoplight and I get something like caution flag, you know, and that's like, no, that's not the same. That's not what I'm trying to say, but it is in the same little file folder somewhere in my brain, and it just spits out the wrong thing. It's like, you know, when you used to punch the vending machine and it would pick the wrong one accidentally and drop the wrong candy bar, and you're like, I just had enough change for a Milky Way, and now I'm stuck with payday. That's what it feels like when I'm trying to talk sometimes, is that there are thoughts up there, there are categories at least, but it just doesn't always come out the right way. Anyway, while I am trying to learn, oh gosh, all the ins and outs of how to post things, how to be as professional as a non-professional, as an amateur can be, and to utilize the things that I know how to do. I think I was sharing about that I used to work for Sam's club, not the clubs like that you go to buy stuff, but the home office, the corporate headquarters that's in Bentonville, Arkansas. That's where Rob and I were when we got married, and that was my job. I was a publications assistant was what it was called, and it was in the marketing and communications department for Sam's Club, which felt really, really prestigious to say whenever somebody would ask me, because, you know what, I can just take these off. There we go. That's probably better. I got a lot of flack for graduating from a liberal arts college with a degree in English and a minor in French and history. And I never really minded that, again, because I knew I wanted to, I knew enough about myself that I needed to have a major that I enjoyed, and what came after that would come after that, whether that was a job in finance, which was that would never happen, because I don't like math. I can do math, I just don't enjoy it. It's not, I am very high on right brain. I utilize my left brain, but if push comes to shove, it's gonna be the right brain that wins out every time. But I graduated with the skills that they were looking for in the marketing department. And I had spent one summer at LSU. I did not graduate from LSU. I graduated from Huntington College in Montgomery, Alabama. But I spent not even a summer, just like, I think it was I don't know, whatever, it was like a tiny little summer semester. And it was because Rob and I were dating long distance, and we didn't know what it was like to live near each other. And so we didn't know if our relationship was going to be something that we both look back and go, oh, that was a really sweet long distance relationship, or as we felt in our hearts, like, I think this is kind of moving towards marriage, but we didn't want to marry somebody that we had never been in the same town at the same time, because you kind of need to know what that feels like. So I took a course at LSU in PR and marketing, just to dabble, stick my toes in the water of that. And that one course that I did not do particularly well in, I think mostly because I was spending a lot of time with my boyfriend instead of studying, which was not like me. Oh my gosh. Which was why it was good that we were long distance most of the time, because I was usually the kid in the front of the class, raising my hand, asking all the questions. Can we do extra for extra credit? Everybody loved me. Doing that course, I learned how to use a Mac computer. It was the small little SEs, the little square, and it had the floppy disk and the whole thing. But when I look back at that moment, it's amazing, because what I learned, what little I picked up of how to use a Mac, translated then into me being able to use my English degree for writing, those kind of communication skills. But the fact that I knew enough technology at a moment in time in technology in the early 90s, where it was just kind of exploding, that I was able to kind of rise above some of the other candidates and got the job. And what that did for me, it has set something in me for the rest of my life that I still look back and go, that's so crazy that one decision to take one course, to learn one computer over, I think it was IBM's or PC's, at the time. I have consistently, when I've needed a job outside of the home, have been able to use those skills and keep improving on those theoretically. And that's what I was doing today, going, I understand the program Canva, because it's just like Quark, and Quark was the program we used back in the day, back 35 years ago, probably 34, 35 years ago. All that as an illustration for me that so much of what I'm experiencing right now, I feel like the Lord has been very, very kind to affirm and confirm that this isn't just some brand new hyper focus of fashion, or when I wrote the book called The Invisible Line, it wasn't this new, I'm going to get on the fad of trying to help people or fight for justice or help people see that we are more alike than we are different. Everything in my life always adds on top of each other. I'm just blown away when I look back at how significant the small things can be, and how one decision that seems really tiny, one of the examples that popped in my head was when I was in the 5th grade. I read 2 books where my other friends were reading books constantly. I was not a fast reader. I didn't feel like I could read well. I struggled with reading. I mean, no one was necessarily diagnosed with anything back in those days, but I don't know what the processing disorder was that I was dealing with, but there was something there. And I read 2 books, and one of them was called Dibs, In Search of Self, which was about a young boy who had autism. Not a lot of 5th graders reading that for pleasure, but I did. The other one was called Don't Look and It Won't Hurt, and it was about adoption. And I look back on that because, again, my friends were reading all the Judy Blume's books, all the Flowers in the Attic, all the, what would have been popular, and I was this nerdy girl reading a nonfiction book about autism, and then what I assume was I think it was a nonfiction about someone who made the very difficult choice to place their child for adoption. And that was the concept, is that back then, which I think it took place probably in the 60s or early 70s, and they told her with very little compassion that if you don't look at the child before you place it for adoption, it won't hurt you. You won't feel the pain of it, which was all a lie, obviously. As I look at my life now as an adoptive mom with 2 adopted children, I look back on that 10-year-old reading that, finding in those moments compassion for birth moms. To be unaware that 20 years later, I would be the farthest thing from a birth mom in never giving birth. But that one decision to read that one book, I don't think was accidental. I think the Lord obviously knew how crucial that would be for me to develop the skill of compassion and to develop the skill of trying desperately to never judge someone in a circumstance that you don't understand, that you've never been a part of, that you've not the road you haven't had to walk down. And hopefully how that has led to being honoring of a woman I've never met who gave 2 women, because it was not the same birth mom for my children, but of 2 women and 2 men, 2 birth fathers and 2 birth moms, who, whatever the circumstances, chose life for my children. And therefore, I have been blessed. I have been blessed beyond measure. And I want to put words to these moments where I go, all these little decisions that seem insignificant in my life, in your life, are simply not. They're not insignificant. They make us who we are, but they also shape what's to come. I think back when I hear my dad telling the stories of how he cared for his mom before she passed away, and it was his joy to do so, and it created a tender place in my heart to be able to care for him in my home. And the same for when it was my mom's time, because neither of them, they weren't married to each other when they were declining, and neither of them were married to other people when they were declining. It kind of is blowing my mind that as I almost said videotaping again, as I'm recording, as I'm videoing, that my appreciation, my gratitude just continues to grow for the way in which the Lord designs our paths and things that I know that we make choices about, that we beat ourselves up over. I think we should maybe equal that scale and think about the seemingly insignificant decisions we make, that when we look at the whole spectrum of our lives thus far, it has made all the difference. Whether it's turning on a Mac computer in the early 90s and learning how to put words on it and pictures together, and might lead to 35 years later going, oh, I think I can do Canva. I think I can put this on there on the internet. Maybe a fool's errand, but I think I could do it. Sorry, I had to get a tissue. Let me have my tissues. or reading a book that, as a 10-year-old, that shapes how big your heart can be for people that don't look like you, that don't come from your own womb, that struggle with sensory input, or what it feels like for a birth mom to make that relinquishment decision, and how it grows your heart to have compassion for that. Watching things on TV when you're a kid, like Backstairs at the White House or Miss Mary Jane Pittman, that help shape and form your worldview about other human beings. All these seemingly insignificant moments and decisions, I genuinely believe, are divine appointments. Who you talk to at the grocery store, who you talk to on a beach in 1987, and think to yourself, that's never gonna go anywhere. And then you end up marrying him. That's our story. Rob and I met on the beach in Panama City in 1987. Yeah, the visual is exactly what's in your head, I'm sure. I am truly grateful that I am living in a moment in my life where so much of what has come before, the decisions, the opportunities, the things that I get excited about or passionate about, seem to be culminating together in a really unique moment. And I hope that's of service to someone else. I hope that means something to someone else, that take a minute, think back. What are those things, those memories that stand out to you? Because I guarantee you there's something about that God is using right now in your life in ways that you would never have thought all those years ago. And it's still happening. I think that's why that my verse, behold, I'm doing a new thing, do not perceive it, is that he's always doing a new thing. It never stops. And I'm really genuinely curious and would be encouraged to hear, what is he doing new in your life? What have you seen him, those little sprinkles of his hand, his fingerprint on your life, those insignificant decisions that end up being a really big moment later? I would love to hear about that, because you can hear about mine ad nauseum. So it might as well be fair play. Anyway, love y'all. Talk to you soon.